us. Nobody told us. We have more than few thousand people who signed a signature here who said no. We said no.
I'm standing here tonight with buyer's remorse because I supported Mayor Brandon Johnson. I feel like a fool right now. I feel like a plum fool.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about my favorite story, Chicago, because Chicago is currently a city that is on a steep decline, okay? It used to be a great American city. Now it is one of the worst American cities, and it is being ran into the ground by a psychopath socialist by the name of Brandon Johnson, who the people of Chicago, mostly black people, voted for, okay? And black people are the ones that are complaining the most about Brandon Johnson, particularly his sanctuary city status that basically allows illegal immigrants to come to the city and to take up all the resources. Now they are boohoo, whining, and crying. And this is mainly because they see the migrants sucking up all the resources and getting special treatment that Americans don't get, right? I mean, they're getting free housing, getting hotel shelter, getting free health care, getting free food, okay? They're about to get jobs, right? They're being taken care of without actually contributing to the system at all. And they have a problem with how much money Brandon Johnson is spending on the illegal immigrants. And Brandon Johnson is not necessarily even trying to be transparent about it because allegedly, they're going to spend $255 million on the migrant crisis by the end of the year. And Brandon Johnson has already set aside hundreds of millions of dollars for next year. However, when asked to show some receipts about how much money they're actually spending on the migrant crisis, again, the city is lacking transparency. Take a look.
Tonight, some more calls for transparency over exactly how much the city of Chicago is spending to care for and to house more than 14,000 migrants.
As aldermen demand more oversight, the city of Chicago has denied a request for more records from NBC5 Investigates. Bennett Haberly joins us now with more on that story. Bennett.
Marion and Stefan, for months we've been asking for more spending receipts like this since we first learned staffers working to care for migrants in the city billed the city of Chicago for anywhere between $135 to $200 an hour. Since August of last year, the city of Chicago has paid a Kansas-based company, Favorite Healthcare Staffing, more than $57 million. The company, with a satellite office on the northwest side, holds the contract to provide staffing for migrant shelters across Chicago. In an effort to follow how those dollars have been spent, NBC5 Investigates filed a Freedom of Information Act request asking for a year's worth of invoices. But this letter shows the city has denied our request as unduly burdensome, noting there are 498 payment vouchers that require redactions, and that would take 124 hours of staff time, posing an immense burden. A burden so large, the city says, that it outweighs the public interest in the information. What's curious is that before this denial letter, the city already provided us with these two invoices, showing with overtime, a nurse at this High Ridge YMCA shelter earned $20,000 in a week. During that same week last December, a shelter manager made $14,000.
This requires a great deal of attention, a lot more transparency. The fact that news organizations are only given one or two invoices when they've requested thousands of them, to me, is unconscionable.
Alderman Brendan Riley represents the 42nd Ward that includes the Inn of Chicago, a migrant shelter that now hosts more than 1,500 people. Riley is among a growing chorus of city leaders concerned about transparency with city spending.
The city council has a role in appropriating monies like this for programs like this, and the fact that we've all been left in the dark about the costs per hour for staff for these facilities, I think, is insane.
What we do know, with 498 payment vouchers totaling $57 million, that works out to an average of $115,000 per invoice. When I asked Mayor Johnson last week about this perceived lack of transparency, he said this.
So let me just make sure that you're clear and everybody else is clear here. Every single Monday, there's a conversation with alders who are part of a working group. Every Friday, there's an email that is sent so all the alders could see it. We have released information providing the details of the fact that when we appropriated the first $51 million, I was the person that said that the vast majority of it went to staffing.
While copies of 2 recent ultimate briefings obtained by NBC5 Investigates do reference upcoming contracts and migrants' needs, they do not show specific information on dollars spent.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, you get the gist of it, right? They're not being transparent. Okay, so we don't know if Chicago has spent $255 million on the illegals, or maybe even $1 billion, because in New York, allegedly they're spending billions. Okay, so wouldn't be surprised if that number was higher, but clearly what you can see, there are special interests that are getting rich off of the migrant crisis in Chicago. Okay, they're getting rich, right? They're making money off the backs of taxpayers. They voted for it, so I mean, hey, I guess it's cool, right? But, you know, hey, that is what is happening. Now, I know one thing. Again, the residents there, the voters there, they're not appreciative of this, even though they voted for it. But you know who also apparently is not appreciative of all this generosity, right? The hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, that have been spent on the illegals? The illegals themselves. Because this lady who apparently is acting as a spokesperson for the illegals, came out and compared Brandon Johnson's plan to build tent cities and migrant camps for the illegals to Hitler having concentration camps for the illegals, which apparently she's saying this because the conditions that the illegals are living in are bad, despite the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent. And I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, BioTrust. Excess belly fat has been deemed the most dangerous type of fat because it is linked to so many different health issues. Interestingly enough, apple body shapes or large waistlines put you at a much higher risk than other body types. This is essentially because excess body fat grows deep in the abdominal cavity, and this puts pressure on your body's most vital organs. This is a big reason why myself, and so many other people are turning to this amazing new substance, Belly Trim by BioTrust, which is thoughtfully formulated with science-backed ingredients provided by Mother Earth that promote reduced fat storage, help to speed up the breakdown of fat, support weight management, reduce cravings, and boost metabolism. Simply take a serving each morning and in the evening to give your body the nutrients that it needs to supercharge your weight loss efforts. The best part I love is that you can get 51% off for the rest of the month or until they sell out, whichever comes first. Plus, you'll receive several additional gifts valued at over $500 with every order for a limited time, including free shipping, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, and 2 free new ebooks titled Top 10 Foods That Burn Belly Fat and Top 8 Exercises to Reduce Belly Fat at no additional cost to you. Go to trimwithpatriot.com, that's trimwithpatriot.com, or click the link down in the description below before this once-in-a-lifetime deal sells out.
And I am with United Giving Hope, which is a non-for-profit organization that serves humanity beyond borders. Today, as a citizen of the United States of America, knowing how great our nation is, knowing how rich we are in many aspects, and knowing the values that we have as Americans, this is unacceptable, inappropriate treatment of human beings. And if we want to look at history in America and in general what has been taught to us, there was a leader in Germany years ago, and his name was Adolf Hitler. And he came into office for a few months, and he created concentration camps. This is not the exact same thing, but it's very much a parallel of taking human beings and telling them that they are less worthy of being allowed to simulate into our society. This is not the answer of herding them into a tent city.
Wow. Right? Wow. You heard that. You heard that. I want you guys to understand what's going on here. Because you do have videos of, illegals from Chicago that are demanding jobs. They're demanding housing, right? They're upset they have to sleep on the floor of police stations, right? They're upset because they have to be placed into tent cities. Even though, again, we have millions of dollars, about $25,000 a piece being spent on the illegals. They haven't even been here for a year, right? Haven't even been here for a year, okay? A whole family of illegals, you're talking about $80,000 to $100,000, right? Now, I know that inflation is bad, but, I think that, a family of 4 or 5 getting $125,000 a year is, I think that you can live decently off of that. At least better than how these illegals were living in Venezuela, right? I'm just saying. Because these people come all the way from Venezuela. It's so bad. It's so terrible. And I'm not saying it's not. Okay, I'm not saying that. I have no doubt that communism is terrible. Living in communism is terrible. Okay, this is why I vote against it, right? But you make that trek all the way across the border, and you get to Chicago where they are taking care of you, even though you have not contributed to the system. There's nothing about you that warrants getting the United States or taxpayers to spend money taking care of you when we don't even spend that money taking care of our own people who are actually citizens of this country that have actually contributed to the country in some way. And you're going to come over here and you're going to have a spokesperson claim that the way you're being treated, again, having millions of dollars spent on you to live, free education, free healthcare, you're getting job placement, and you're going to compare it to living under Hitler in concentration camps. If this is not ungrateful, I don't know what is, right? Again, this is ungrateful. This is ungrateful. This is entitlement at its finest. These people really believe that the migrants should be living in 5-star hotels, fine dining, free healthcare, free mental health care services, free transportation, everything free. Roll out the red carpet without contributing a dime to this country. And if they don't get that, they say that you're like Hitler, right? And you treat them the way that Hitler treated the people that he put in concentration camps. Amazing stuff. Again, this is language coming from the left. Because that's what this is. The lunacy of this statement, only a leftist, a flaming leftist can make such a statement like that. Because even Brandon Johnson, who is a flaming leftist, he's a full-blown lunatic. I don't think that he would appreciate his camp cities being compared to concentration camps. I don't think that's what he's trying to do to the illegals. I think he's actually treating the illegals too well, right? I think he should deport them. I think he should send them back to Venezuela. But he's not, right? He is sacrificing the tax dollars and the well-being of his own constituents. His own constituents feel betrayed because of how he's taking care of these illegals. And these people, in order to thank him for doing that, for destroying the American city, once great American city, for the illegals, they compare him to Hitler running concentration camps. It's really insane, the world that we're living in, guys. Right? It really is. When you have millions of dollars being spent on illegals and they're saying, oh, well, we're living in concentration camps. Right? You're treating us so bad. It's amazing. It absolutely is. But hey, Brandon Johnson signed up for this. Right? It's his fault. Because again, he rolled out the red carpet for the illegals. He promised the illegals the world, and that's what they want. They want more. They want more. Nothing will ever be enough. And Brandon Johnson has now saddled himself with a problem that probably is going to make him a one-term mayor. If he doesn't somehow, some way get removed before then, right? Because that city is going to revolt. They're going to revolt again. They're going to run him out of town, bruh. They're going to run him out of town considering the way that things are going right now, right? I'm just saying. Because at least with the Democrats in New York, they've gotten smart enough to say, hey, the illegals shouldn't come here, right? Don't send the illegals here. Don't come, right? Don't cross the border. At least they got smart enough to say that. This guy hasn't even got smart enough to say that. He's still welcoming them into the city. Just for them to turn around and compare him to Hitler, right? Again, it's amazing stuff. You can't make this up. You can't. So again, the destruction of Chicago should be written in history books, right? It should be studied what is happening right now with Chicago and the migrant crisis, because it is the most fascinating story of 2023. And it's not even close. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.